Aries, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2017. I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to give you the monthly horoscope for this month, or next month. It's probably going to upload in February. So I'll start with Venus. First, I'm sure you heard there's the Venus retrograde. So my advice to you, Aries, is to definitely watch out. Venus is retrograding in your sign, so you're gonna feel it the most. And this is a time for reflection. You're definitely probably gonna get some old friends coming up from the past, or people who feel like they came from past lives. New relationships may start to seem faded. I don't recommend getting into new relationships right now, but if you do, just take as much time as possible to assess how these relationships make you feel, and also how these relationships reflect upon your own identity. Whether you're Aries ascendant, or even Aries sun and moon, these relationships, or this retrograde is going to be triggering your first house, and this is the house of identity, and the persona that other people perceive when they meet you. So this retrograde will definitely test who you think you are, and relationships that tend to try to change you. You may find that as the retrograde progresses, you'll notice more relationships that try to change you, and these are definitely the relationships that you should let go of, because there's certain people who can change in a relationship, like Venus square Pluto people, but more or less, if people are trying to change you in a relationship, then the relationship won't last. It's not a good relationship because they don't like you for who you truly are. So I would definitely be aware of those kind of negative relationships. On the flip side, I definitely feel like good things can come from a retrograde. I happen to be born with like 5 planets in retrograde. I just don't see a lot. I find good parts in a lot of the negative aspects in astrology. So I feel like this may be a time where you may go through a lot of trials and tribulations with a relationship, but the relationship may come out stronger, and you may end up finding yourself even more through that relationship. It kind of seems counterintuitive. How can you find yourself in a relationship? But it does happen for some people in that way, especially if you happen to be, let's say, Libra rising but Aries sun. Aries is in the sign of relationships, so you may end up finding yourself in a relationship that ends up stronger after the retrograde. Another interpretation of this retrograde for Aries people could be the ending of a relationship in a good way. This retrograde could help you assess a relationship, and you may realize, you know what, I don't really want to be a part of this anymore, it's not really for me, and you end it, and you end up feeling so much better afterwards, and you end up feeling freer, and you're more closer to yourself, and you're able to identify more strongly with who you truly are after you break away from this relationship. So definitely beware. Of course, be careful of cosmetic procedures, especially for Aries, cosmetic procedures that have to do with the face, because it's triggering your first house. Not the best time for Botox, you know what I'm saying? And nose surgery, anything like that, it's probably not the best time. So if you're able to schedule it for a later date, or maybe like right before the retrograde begins on the 4th and goes all the way through to April like 15th. So if you can kind of reschedule it to before or after those periods, I would suggest that. Even because when Venus goes retrograde this time, it's going to make a square to Saturn. That square to Saturn is actually going to happen on, maybe it's the next month. Yeah, so it's going to make a square to Saturn in early April when it's going retrograde, and then it's going to square, around April 5th. That's like when you'll start to feel it. So it's going to make a square to Saturn when it's retrograde, and then it's going to square Saturn again when it's direct. So if you really want to be careful, don't make any huge cosmetic changes until after April 22nd, including hair color, especially for Aries, because this is the first house, the face. You know, when people first meet somebody else, usually the first thing they remember is how they looked in terms of their face. And then everything else kind of comes later, but try not to make any huge changes to your face, especially for Aries people, especially Aries ascendant people. So that's the Venus retrograde. I hope you stay safe and stay emotionally grounded. Aries is not a particularly emotional sign, but Venus has to do with money as well. So if you start spending things on things that don't really identify with you, that could definitely backfire. So try to not make too many huge investments. Aries could sometimes be a little impulsive, so try to think, does this truly reflect who I am before you make any sort of large investment. So moving on, we have Mercury conjunct the Sun in your 12th house in 16 degrees. The sign that the conjunction is in Pisces, and this is happening on March 7th. So this is definitely a time to kind of relax, tune into your more spiritual side. This is 12th house. It's a little karmic. It's a little past life. You know, it's also a little confusing. It's kind of venturing out into the unknown. Since it's a conjunction, there are some sort of negative aspects to a conjunction, because with a conjunction you have a lot of the good of a sign, and you also have a lot of the bad of a sign. So I would definitely guard against any drugs on that day, or like don't go to a party and go ham. That is not the day. There's a conjunction in your 12th house, so it's very easy for you to go ham and do too much and overdose. But you know, it's still Pisces, it's still your 12th house. Try to just be more in tune with your emotional side on that day. And also a couple days before that, there's a Mercury conjunct Neptune. So Mercury is communication, and so you have a conjunction to Neptune followed by a conjunction to the Sun, all in your 12th house. Neptune is has a lot of, Neptune is a planet for the sign of Pisces. So it's very daydreamy, especially with Mercury. You know, this is a good time to meditate. This is a good time to let your mind wander. You may even want to, you know, dream up some grand plans. This isn't the time for the more realistic and logical thinking. You don't want to do like heavy thinking, but you don't want to make very practical plans or have to exert a lot of practical thought into things. This is definitely a better day for relaxing and daydreaming. And since this conjunction from Mercury to Neptune is followed by a conjunction to the Sun, you could definitely take the grand plans that you made and then use them to think about who you truly are and what you want to do in this world, which is the Sun. So definitely take advantage of this. It's the Mercury conjunct Neptune is on the 11th degree on the 4th, and then Mercury conjunct the Sun is on the 7th in the 16th degree, and this is all in your 12th house. Also, right after that, you have Mercury square Saturn, and also square the Moon. So it's a quick T square. The Moon is kind of fleeting, but it does interact in this square. Of course, everybody's scared of squares, as we should be. But there's still beauty to be found in squares, because most negative aspects, the most prominent one being the square, only occurs when the masculine principle meets up with the feminine principle. And the reason why it's so hard is, if you notice, most positive aspects in astrology happen when masculine and masculine are together and feminine are together. So when masculine and feminine meet up, it's going to be a clashing, because these two principles and genders, if you will, I don't really accept a gender binary, but these two genders, or more so principles, I'll say the masculine and feminine principles, when they meet up, they don't understand each other. You know, feminine likes to relax and be receptive, masculine likes to charge forth and like do things, and like they usually don't mix. However, as we all know through Biology 101, when they do mix, you get one of the best and greatest creations of all time, a human, or just new life. Except for like asexual reproduction. But for most times, you know, you can really create something beautiful from squares. So Mercury squares Saturn. Mercury is thought, Mercury is communication, Mercury is media, it's the intellect. Saturn is plans and projects. So this may be a time we can get really frustrated with your projects if you have any projects going on. If you have group projects, I am sorry, I know it's tough. This is going to be one of the toughest group projects you have because it's going to be influenced by this square. People may not want to work together, and this is not necessarily your friends, it's more so people that you just see on the day-to-day who, you know, you don't really have any particular ties to. It's people who you interact with very commonly, but you have no say in them being a part of your life. For example, siblings or classmates. You didn't choose them, they just happen to be around you and you can't unchoose them. So this is a time when you may feel like they start getting a little bit cold. This is a time where they may not really be willing to work with you. Your communication, your own communication may come off cold, and it just may be very hard to work together in a very cohesive manner. With the moon aspecting that, I feel like you'll see, instead of feeling it internally, you may see material results of this lack of cohesion. I don't necessarily think it's the best time to be recluse, because it could still catch up to you when you're by yourself. These are just planetary influences, so you can't hide from them. But try to be mindful about your communication. Try to think about how it may affect somebody else. This is happening in your 12th, 9th, 6th, and 3rd house. These are like the 4 houses that you'll feel it in. So 9th is travel and higher education, 12th is high-mindedness, 3rd is media, and 6th is like hardworking and like the day-to-day tasks. So try to analyze how you can be clearer with yourself on those things. Try to be a little bit easy on yourself. Saturn tends to be very harsh, and it tends to be harsh because it feels inadequate in some way. So try to be a little bit easier on yourself, and easier on others. Don't be too harsh with others. This is the time when you're more likely to be too harsh and too critical of others. So try to be nice. Play nice, Aries. Okay, so here's my favorite part, moon trines. I'm gonna highlight days that I think you may just get like a boost of luck, because the moon is trine Jupiter. I'll tell you where to look for these things in your chart since you are Aries. So at the end of the day, on March 5th, you have a trine, because Jupiter's in Libra, it's going to be in Libra all month, and it is retrograde for I think a good part of the month, yeah. So at the end of the day on March 5th, you have the moon in Gemini making a trine to Libra. And these are your Aries, so 3rd and 7th house. So it's a good day to hang out with friends. It's a great day to hang out with friends. You may even find somebody who you are romantically interested in. I'm not saying you're gonna get married, but you know, it's a good day to hang out with friends and be social, enjoy your friends. Also, on the middle of the day of March 24th, there's another trine with Aquarius and the moon in Aquarius and Jupiter in Libra. So again, another day to hang out with friends. The moon trines of this month are definitely social moon trines, so a good day to party, a good day to have brunch, a good day to just spend time appreciating the people that you have around you. Even with the Gemini trine, a good day to hang out with siblings, cousins, family members. and just appreciate the other people in your life. You may end up hearing about some great opportunities that you would not have thought of through these friends and through these connections. So definitely take advantage of that. Oh, we have Sun conjunct Venus. Is that so? Yes, that's true. I forget. I always think March is Pisces, but at the end it is Aries. So Sun conjunct Venus. So if it is your birthday this month, happy birthday. You'll probably feel the Sun conjunction in Aries. It's from 4 to 5 degrees on March 25th and 26th. It's kind of like a 2-day situation, because I guess the actual point of contact happens like in the midnight between those 2 days, but you'll feel it from the 25th and the 26th. Sun conjunct Venus. This is just a great day for you to shine. If you are your truest self, other people will flock to you, other people will be attracted to you. It'll come off as aesthetically pleasing. You'll be seductive, and great day to surround yourself with your friends, your true friends, the friends that make you feel most genuine and most vibrant. It's definitely in your first house if you are Aries ascendant. So you'll enjoy this day. Again, another day to hang out with friends. Why not? So yeah, you can definitely enjoy that. And lastly, ooh, this is terribly out of order, I'm sorry. Sun conjunct Neptune. This is actually on the 2nd day of March. And that's also in Pisces. So that's actually, yeah, so first you have Sun conjunct Neptune, Mercury conjunct Sun, then Mercury conjunct Neptune. I'm sorry, I keep messing this up. Sun conjunct Neptune first on the 2nd, and then Mercury conjunct Neptune on the 4th, and then Mercury conjunct Sun on the 7th, then the Mercury square on the 12th. So, you know, these are just nice days, and you have the moon trine on the 5th. In terms of all the 12th house activity, I definitely feel like you should be meditating. I feel like that might help. Just kind of interacting with the other world, your spiritual world, however you feel about spirituality, whether you're atheist, Christian, Buddhist, whatever, however you feel about spirituality is a good day to be more in tune with it, and then more in tune with your emotional side as well. It's a watery house, so you definitely want to just enjoy yourself. Maybe you just want to paint, maybe you just want to relax, maybe you just want to, you know, just hang out and not do a lot, you know, make yourself a good meal. These are all great things to do on those days. The conjunctions are a little tricky. Try not to go too overboard. It's hard to tell because they're not balancing each other out. But, you know, I have faith in you. You'll probably do well. So I hope you enjoy the month of March, and I hope to see you next month.